Coming out of high school, Tua Tagovailoa was a very highly regarded recruit. Every college in the country wanted him. To make a long story short, he goes to Alabama and he completely balls out. When I say everybody, I mean everybody absolutely loved Tua, from the stuff he did on the field to the stuff he did off the field. For the longest, and I'm sure many of you remember this, people are already stating the rumors, quote unquote, tank for Tua. I'm not going to overcomplicate this. At Alabama, he was an elite quarterback with elite weapons all around him, and that's a recipe for success. But unfortunately for Tua, things got rather interesting rather quick. And you do got to feel bad for him, because what happened to him, it was out of his control, but at the end of the day, the reality, the harsh reality of sports, injuries are a part of the game. The only thing that has held Mr. Tua back at the college level, and even at the NFL level, and we'll talk about that in just a second, are injuries. At Alabama, in his second year there, against Georgia in the SEC Championship, not the first year, but the second year in the SEC Championship, he had a bad injury on his ankle and he had to have surgery. The surgery he wound up having, I'm pretty familiar with. It was tightrope ankle surgery, and it's nothing major. Like I said, although it wasn't major at the time, it was a start to a domino effect that would get bigger. The following year in 2019, his junior year, his last and final year, he had another ankle injury against Tennessee. He comes back from that injury, and only a few games after, he had the very gruesome and terrible injury against Mississippi State where he hurt his hip. Not too sure what you exactly call or label that injury, but it doesn't really matter. All you need to know is that he had to have surgery on his right hip. By that time in his career, there were a lot of worries about him, and it was just solely based on injuries. Let me put it this way. I don't think there was a single person out there, whether you're a fan, NFL scout, whoever, that wasn't at least slightly concerned by all the injuries he had, and they were just mounting up. Should it be this way? No, but it's a prime example as to why life's not fair. If you watch sports, you'll notice that guys who have injuries all the time, they continue to have injuries. And guys who stay healthy, they continue to stay healthy. And that is how we come to the phrase that many know today, injury prone. And Tua, I hate to say it, but it's true, he was injury prone, and he kind of still is. Within a 2-year span, and it was solely based off his injuries alone, he went from being a no doubt number 1 overall pick to dropping to number 5. Dropping to number 5 is not the worst thing ever, but if you remember all the hype around him when everybody was saying he was going number 1 no matter what, you would understand that is a big deal. And even at that, there was a lot of people that weren't too excited about Miami getting him at number 5. Also, you gotta throw this in there. The doctors made it extremely clear it's gonna take him at least over a year to recover fully from that hip injury. So the Dolphins pretty much drafted him knowing, okay, he's not gonna produce much in the first year. You hate to see it, and from an NFL executive standpoint, it's a hard decision. He checks all the boxes. He's a great leader, great person, outstanding human being. He donates to charity, just so many great things. He has all the intangibles. He has the arm talent, but he's injury prone. I don't care if you're the most talented quarterback of all time. If you can't stay healthy, that's going to affect your game. And I think you could tell in his first couple of years of Miami, he's still getting comfortable coming off of those surgeries. The problem with that, though, in the NFL, from the team, from the fans to the GM, they're not going to give you 3 to 4 years to start being good. If you're drafted number 5 overall, you got to be good now. Yeah, okay, the first year, maybe the second, we'll give you a pass. But that 3rd or 4th year, if you're not great, we got to move on. I love Tua to death. But if he doesn't show you in this up-and-coming season that he can be that elite or great quarterback, you gotta move on. It's simple. Let's look at the cold hard facts. In his first year in 2020, he went 6-3 as a starter. He appeared in 10 games. He completed 64% of his passes, threw for 1,800 yards, had 11 touchdowns to only 5 interceptions. Not too bad. Key phrase is not too bad. It's not too good either. Watching that year very closely, if you watched it, you know what I'm talking about. The Dolphins, they didn't let Tua loose. Their defense was so good, they were basically saying, okay, go out there, make the simple and easy throws, don't throw nothing over 50 yards, and we're going to win the game. You can't really judge him off of that first year, and also he's coming off an injury, so they were being careful with him. In the most recent year, 2021, this is when you could tell Tua and the organization, they were, okay, you got some free reign. They were starting to let him loose, and as a starter, in 12 games, he went 7-5. He jumped up his completion percentage to 67.8, proving once again he's a very accurate passer. He jumped up his yards to 2,600, that's good, had 16 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. You would like to see those numbers improve, because if you do times 2 of those, it would be 32 touchdowns to 20 interceptions, and that's not so great. Here's the bottom line, and everybody, I think we're all in the same boat looking at it from the same standpoint. The first year's like, okay, whatever, he's coming back for injury. Last year was a warm-up year, and this year coming up with the weapons he has from Jalen Waddle to Tyreek Hill and Mike Gesicki at tight end, there's no reason not to thrive. I'm talking about Tua's got to have at minimum 65 completion percentage or 64, throw for nearly 4,000 yards, and he needs to have 35 touchdowns to maybe 10, 15 interceptions. And that's at minimum. If he doesn't put up those type of numbers, you might have to move on. Once again, let's not try to overcomplicate this. This year coming up, it's going to tell us everything we need to know. Here's the thing right now as to why I think it's such a strange and curious situation. If somebody came up to me right now and gave me reasons and examples as to why Tua is going to be a bust, I could see it and agree with it. At the same time though, if another person came up to me 5 minutes later and gave me reasons as to why he could be one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history, I could also see it. I'm not saying he's going to be a bust. I'm not saying he's going to be one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history, but you can see where both parties are coming from. He checks off a lot, and I mean a lot of boxes, but there's also some boxes that he hasn't checked off. Another reason why I think this year is so important, it's his first year where he's completely healthy. Ever since 2017 or 2018 in Alabama, he's been rehabbing in the offseason. This year, it wasn't rehab, it was just putting in work. But check this out. If you keep up with the NFL, watch SportsCenter, go on Twitter, Instagram, any social media site, you would know that there's many out there that aren't too fond of Tua, and he gets way too much hate. I don't mean just a little hate, I mean it's utterly ridiculous. I would love to come up here and try to act dumb and act like I don't know why he gets the hate, but I do. It's simple. Because anytime someone is successful or great in life, and people don't have a reason to hate on them, they're going to do it anyways. I would say all this started around a year ago, and it's been going on ever since then. So odd to me, because remember at Alabama, there wasn't a single person saying a single bad thing about him, and even his first year in Miami. But now, out of the blue, everybody's trashing him for no reason. Make no mistakes about it. He doesn't look like Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson out there, but he hasn't been that bad. Come on, man. I wouldn't be praising Tua on social media if I did stuff like that, but I for sure wouldn't be talking bad about him. To each its own though, and one thing I've respected a ton out of Tua is he hasn't responded to any of the negative or hate comments. That was up until recently. Recently, he finally cracked and it finally got to him, and it was only a matter of time because he sees all this stuff every day. Although these athletes don't talk about the hate comments and criticism, trust me, they see it. I gotta remind y'all, I think it was, 2-3 weeks ago, there was a viral video clip going around where Tua threw a long pass and everybody was saying, oh, it was a terrible pass to Tyreek Hill. He had to catch it like a punt return and the ball was wobbling in the air and blah, 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 blah. I'm sure most of you know what I'm talking about. It was just another stupid reason to hate on Tua. Here's all I'm going to say about this. We're talking about practice, not a game like Allen Iverson says. We're talking about practice. Me personally, I'm never going to overreact to a practice highlight clip, but if you want to be that person, feel free to do so. In an interview after practice, Tua had something to say about all the criticism he's been getting. Matt wrote a clip.
I mean, we come out to practice, everyone else, Twitter warriors, keyboard warriors, whatever you want to call them, they're not out here practicing with us working hard.
So he called all of them keyboard warriors. Nothing too crazy, but I like it because he's also throwing a slight jab at them. Here's one thing you got to understand on social media and with all these haters and critics. You're not going to win. You could be the best person you can be. You could be literally Jesus Christ and they would still hate on you. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Tua still got hate for saying that. A guy who works for ESPN, he responded to what Tua said, and I'll just let you check it out. It's pretty interesting. He called out, and I want to get the word correct, the Twitter warriors. You can't do that. You can't say, I understand you're out there on social media, you're crushing me, so stick to it. No, because more people will jump on that, and now every single time he short arms a pass, more people will say he shouldn't have a job, and the media in Miami will publish this stuff. It's a fight you can't win. It's insane. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly what I'm talking about. You will not, and let me repeat this, you will not, never in a million years, defeat the social media keyboard warriors like he calls them. You just won't. And you know why? Because it's a battle you can't win. It goes like this. If you play good, they're not going to say nothing. But as soon as you play a mediocre or bad game, that's when everybody's going to light you on fire. I was hoping Tua would never address the hate or say anything about it, because I knew once he did and once he said something like he said, it was going to be worse, and it will be worse next year. You don't think they're going to bring up that phrase keyboard warriors after he plays a bad game? Come on now. Sad and miserable people who go online, and yeah, I'm sure there's some of you watching this video. You go online and write hate comments. If you do that, I'm telling you right now, you're a sad and miserable person. Find something better else to do. Go make some money. I'll tell you one thing right now. I'm not a perfect human by any means, but I'll be danged if I go out there and hate on another man. Number one, I'm not giving somebody else my attention, and number two, I got my own problems in life to worry about. I promise you, the last thing on my mind is writing a hate comment under a football player's post or just anything. Last but not least, before I end out this video, there's another 13 second clip where Tua talks about, oh, I threw 2 touchdown passes to Tyreek Hill and y'all didn't post or talk about that.
I don't know if you guys recorded that last one to Tyreek, but
You're not allowed to shoot it.
I don't know about you, but that looked like money.
It all goes back to what I'm harping on. If you play great, they're not going to talk about it. But you make 1, 2 bad throws, yeah, they're going to talk about it. It's simple. And now, since Tua has addressed all these haters and critics, they're excited because they got a reaction, and it's just going to be more and more and more. Now that all these weirdos and bozos see, hey, Tua responded to me and it drives them crazy, they're going to continue to do it. It's like a bully in high school. If somebody says hateful things towards you and you let them know it hurts your feelings, they're going to continue to do it. Why? Because they want a reaction. But if you call me a loser 5 days in a row and I don't even look at you or acknowledge you, you're going to be like, well, dang, I'm not getting a reaction I want. I'm going to call somebody else a loser. I'm not even too sure if people actually believe Tua's a bad quarterback. They just say it for attention and clicks and views. Here's a great tweet, and I'm going to end the video off with this. This person said, the fake news sports media is at it again. Now they criticized Tua's comments towards keyboard warriors. When he was shy and timid, he wasn't a quote-unquote leader. Now when he speaks out, he's too cocky and toxic. They will never stop their hatred of Tua Tagovailoa. It all circles back to everything we talked about in this video. It won't stop. They do it for attention. You can't win against what Tua calls the keyboard warriors. Won't happen, never will. If there's one guy I want to see succeed in any sport, basketball, baseball, water polo, lacrosse, swimming, track, field, any sport out there, it's Tua. I want to see him succeed, and I'm very curious. Let me know your thoughts on all this down below. Bye, peace.